Here we go.
You're listening to Texas Real Estate with Todd Tremonti, brought to you by the Patrick Glaros Mortgage Team, DP Lambert with Goosehead Insurance, PMR Roofing, HomeServe Home Warranty, Republic Title, Evolution Moving, and Keen Landscaping. And now your host, real estate broker, consultant, and best-selling author, Todd Tremonti.
Welcome, folks. Welcome to Texas Real Estate live from the Keen Landscaping Studios. We are ready to get into it today. We're going to be talking about what's going on in the market and whether or not there has been a shift, whether or not the market has changed, not just an anomaly, but whether or not we are now in a different type of residential real estate market here in North Texas than we were earlier this year. We'll get into that here in a little bit. As always, the first segment is brought to you by Patrick Glaros and his mortgage team over at Cardinal Financial. You've heard me talking a lot lately about the fact that we've been working with them a lot lately as we've made a couple of different real estate investments and moved our family a little bit for an exciting opportunity for us. So anyway, do what I do. Call Patrick Glaros anytime you have any mortgage needs. 972-728-3420. I almost gave out a direct line. 972-728-3420.
Oops.
PatrickGlaros.com. I know I call him so much I have the direct line, but PatrickGlaros.com, NMLS number 308804. Now, we do have the whole gang, the whole crew here in studio, which is almost always the case, but in summer, it's not quite as likely to have the whole trio here. We've got the English wonder himself, Yanni Donnie.
Present.
Ian Daniels.
Present.
How English are you feeling today?
Tired.
Okay, that is not an answer to the question I asked, but that's probably a pretty English answer. And now we'll throw it to producer extraordinaire, the young MG, Mason Goss, purveyor of all things 2-year flip, as well as potentially backyard chickens, frozen and organically raised, if you're interested in that sort of thing. Welcome, Mason.
The poster child for the 2-year flip, I'd like to deem myself.
He's also
Lately, it's going to be hard to beat.
He's also just got hired after he offered his services to raise me a goat.
It's true. 3 years ago, we had an intern that promised a goat to Ian. Never followed through.
Nope, because he named it.
You never want to name the animals you plan to eat. And back on track, this is Texas Real Estate with Todd Tremonti. If you've got questions, you can send those to us online at toddtremontiteam.com. You can call or text 214-310-0008. Again, 214-310-0008. Call or text right now during the show or anytime throughout the week and get direct access to our team members. A lot of the time, you can get direct access to the English wonder himself, Ian Daniels, and he can get you connected with the perfect team member for your interests or your needs, whether you're selling, buying, remodeling, looking for a valuation on your property for tax reasons or investment reasons, or simply just keeping pace with the market. You can always find out the value of your house automatically online at valuethishouse.com and find out in less than 1 minute what your home would sell for or rent for. Coming up in just 1 second, we're going to be talking about what is happening in the local real estate market. Has there been a shift? If so, is it temporary or permanent? We will be getting into all that in just 1 minute. But before that,
Yes.
you got anything on your mind? You got a question?
No, not really.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well,
How's that?
on that note, then, I want to talk to you about Goosehead Insurance. DP Lambert, you've heard us talk to you about that forever and ever and ever because he's been clutch for our clients and for many of our team members forever and ever and ever. And as I've just made multiple real estate transactions lately myself, personally, for our family and our business, DP's been a part of every single one. Every once in a while, we'll do something commercially related or something that's not right in the perfect wheelhouse for DP. And the good news is, through the Goosehead Network, DP's connected me with somebody who's a specialist in that area every single time. Now, that might sound weird that I'm telling you DP's your guy, but he can't always get it done. But nobody does everything. We're big believers in specialization. So your home, your auto, your personal insurance, DP is the guy. But occasionally, if you need something done that's outside of that personal insurance world, you don't have to go to a stranger. DP can connect you with someone that he knows and trusts within the Goosehead world, like he's done for me, and things go very, very well. dp.lambert@goosehead.com. That's dp.lambert@goosehead.com. Or as always, like my son says,
ToddTremoneyTeam.com,
where you can click the radio tab and find all the experts that we talk to and about here on the show. So let's answer the question. Has the market changed? Has it shifted? Is this a weird anomaly, or is this the new market that we are going to live in for a while? Well, here's the answer. Yes, the market has shifted. And yes, I believe this is the new market we are going to live in for a while, but I don't know yet how long that while is going to be. Clearly, nobody knows the future. Interest rates going up and staying up fairly, for a period of time now, a month and a half, not quite 2 months. It's new. The conditions on the ground for housing, buying and selling houses and condos and townhomes, residential housing here in North Texas have changed, right? There are fewer buyers buying. There just are. Fewer buyers can afford the homes that they wanted or needed based on interest rates. Now, you can argue about that all you want. You can be upset about that all you want. That's the reality of today, is that mortgage rates are, above 5 for most people, just below 5 for people with very good credit. And not that long ago, they were an entire full interest percentage point lower. So people can afford less. People that were okay with their house but wanting to buy one they really loved, now for many of them, the ones they can buy aren't much better than the one they're already in, so they're staying put.
Can you put some numbers to what it is that you're saying? Like for a seller that's hearing you say there's less people buying houses right now, like what does the numbers kind of look like?
Yeah, I would say probably somewhere around 1/3 of the entire buyer population has taken kind of step to the side, has said, I'm no longer actively searching. Now, I think they would all still like to buy if the right house came up, but they are not going to open houses and out actively searching homes with a realtor or even super actively looking online. They have simply decided, I'm going to stay where I am because I cannot afford to buy what I would want, right? Others are still in the market, but they're certainly more patient and tentative because they've gotten to the point where they're saying, now I'm going to have to pay more than I wanted for less than I wanted. 6 weeks ago, 2 months ago, people were saying, I'm having to pay more than I wanted, but I'm getting what I want. Now I'm having to pay more than I wanted and I'm not getting it. Now, this isn't true for everybody.
Right.
This is true for the segment of the marketplace where the interest rate was a major factor in what they could afford. And many of those people sort of in the average price ranges of the low to mid 300s have lost, some of them $30,000 to $50,000 in buying power. So you were looking at a $400,000 house. Now you're looking at $350,000. You might have gone from mostly looking at 4 and 5 bedrooms to looking at 3 bedrooms. And that's just not adequate for your needs. And so you're not going to make the move. Of course, the frustration of rental rates are still there. So folks that are renting, their rents are still going up. It's costing them more money to not make that decision, but there just maybe no options out there. Now, I would say 1/3 of the buying population is kind of just bowed out. About 1/3, probably not quite 1/3, is in the market, but still very patient and just not nearly as urgent and forcing a decision immediately. And then whatever the math adds up to, probably half the market is exactly where it was before. When I see the house I want, I'm going to buy it. If it's priced well and marketed well, it's going to be competitive with multiple offers, and it's going to be an exciting, good or bad exciting scenario where the buying and selling is happening. But if you're following those numbers, almost 100% of our market belonged in that segment 8 or 10 weeks ago.
Well, and what's interesting too is that you're seeing massive differences city to city, right? And I'm not even talking about, cities that are far away from each other, Richardson and Euless, right? I'm talking about like Richardson and Plano.
Yep.
Like you're seeing big differences on how long homes are sitting on the market. You're seeing big differences on how many offers people are getting, how many showings people are getting. It's been really interesting to watch over the past, 4 to 6 weeks. Those differences really, really taking shape.
Yeah. And to be clear, we can get into that a little bit more later in the show, is the differences between different, smaller communities within the DFW, overall DFW Metroplex. But there are more factors here than just interest rates, right? And there are more factors that are important other than how many homes are on the market and how fast they sell. But those are the big ticket, indicators that a lot of people are looking at for us to be able to say, look, it's a different market than it was. I would expect people to begin to see homes sit on the market a little bit longer. We haven't seen a whole lot of that yet, but we have seen the inventory go up. In some of the communities like Ian just mentioned, Richardson or Allen, we were sitting around, like 2 weeks of housing inventory. And in many of those areas, we're up to 6 or 7 weeks of inventory. Well, if you do the quick math on that, inventory's tripled in some of these areas, doubled in some other areas. But it's tripled and doubled from such small numbers that we are still definitely in a seller's market, but it's definitely not as extreme as it was. And right now, the needle is moving towards a slightly more inventory, continued growth in inventory, and continued increase in opportunity for buyers.
I was on a call with one of our agent coaching clients, consulting clients.
From another market around the country. Yeah.
In North Dakota, and we were looking at absorption rates, both locally here and up there. And what I was looking at, I looked at Richardson and Plano and Allen, and under 500,000, we were seeing, give or take around 2.5, 3 weeks of inventory. Mm-hmm. But previously, only 4 weeks ago, we were seeing a couple of days of inventory. So, right. I mean, what? It is a massive percentage increase, even though it still sounds ridiculous that we're celebrating 2 weeks of inventory.
Right. For some of our long-term listeners, they've heard this explanation hundreds of times. It'll only take 20 seconds, so stick with us. But a stable market in North Texas has 4 to 6 or 5 to 7 months of housing inventory. When we say absorption rate, we literally mean the rate at which buyers are buying the homes that are currently on the market. So
if no new homes came on, there was enough inventory to last.
So you can say that two ways: either how many months of inventory are there based on the rate people are buying, or what is the rate. So either way, one would basically be 1 month of inventory. We're buying them at a rate where they'd all be gone in 1 month. That's the two different ways to look at that number. And what Ian is saying is that number was like 0.25, which is a week, and now it may be 1.25, which is 5 weeks, or something in that range. 2 weeks has gone up to 4 or 5 weeks, or 1 week's gone up to 3 or 4 weeks, or 2 to 6, whatever the case is. But we've seen those numbers go up, but they are still way, way below the level of a stable market. But we are seeing those numbers move towards a stable market. Now, I highly doubt that anytime during calendar year 2022, we are going to see a statistically stable market. We're not moving in that direction that fast, but it's faster than we've seen in a long time, even faster than we were moving pre-COVID. And we were moving in that exact same direction pre-COVID. We were going from an annual appreciation rate of 18 or 20% down to one more like 12 to 15. Then it shot up to 30. And we may be moving back down to an annual appreciation rate of 10 or 12 or 15. We don't really know yet because things are changing so much. But what we know is this is a new market. This is a new economy when it comes to houses. So if you're buying or selling, you can't do this with old information. You can't do this with an old strategy. If you'd like new information and a new strategy, go to toddtremonti.com or reach out to our team, my team, directly at 214-310-0008. I promise you, I give you my word, one of the team members at the Todd Tremonti Home Selling Team will contact you directly, schedule a time that's convenient for you to either meet in the office, jump on a Zoom call, or potentially just have a quick phone call, or depending on where you are in the process, gathering information, ready to buy, ready to sell, ready to get some pricing, or interested in our proprietary marketing systems to help you sell your home over the average price and under the average time, or to purchase a home where you'll save at least $5,000 throughout the purchase process of buying. So go to toddtremonteteam.com, click any button, fill out any form, call or text any phone number, or simply call or text 214-310-0008. That's 214-310-0008. It won't cost you any money. We'll set up what we call a free strategy session where we'll ask you a lot of questions to help understand your wants, your needs, your unique situation. We'll give you some suggestions, some resources. If and only if we are the perfect fit for you and you're the ideal client for us, then we might take that a step further and meet in person and create a custom plan to help you achieve your unique goals for you and your family and your finances, whether it be buying or selling. All that starts at toddtremonteteam.com or 214-310-0008.
And let me tell you about HomeServe Home Warranty. When it comes to home warranties, there's a ton of different options out there that people can look at. But HomeServe for us has just been such a fantastic experience for so many of our clients. I've had so many good stories and examples where people were just thrilled at how above and beyond HomeServe went. Christine over there is checking in with us, making sure that everyone is happy, that all our clients are happy, and we can honestly tell them that we are. So you can go to homeserve.com for more information on their home warranties, homeserve.com, or you can go to toddtremonteteam.com, where, as always, you can click the radio icon, and you can find all of our recommended pros and vendors right there.
Oh, breaking news.
That's the moving to Texas alert.
Got it.
I got a moving to Texas question. People asked us on the YouTube channel.
Sweet. We've got breaking moving to Texas YouTube question coming in just a bit, which is really interesting. I was actually going to bring up the topic here in just a minute. Are people still doing that? I've been asked that question a lot. Like,
yes.
That migration has basically stopped, right? And there's some interesting data in there. Before we do that, though, we had a client party the other night. We had a really, really good time playing pickleball and foosball.
That's
and
a fun
shuffleboard.
sport, by the way. I'd never played pickleball.
Pickleball's a blast.
It was fun.
We played pickleball, shuffleboard, ping pong, foosball. We had a raffle. We did all kinds of crazy stuff. And we hung out with our friends from PMR Roofing, as well as many of our other friends and vendors and clients and partners and all those things. But we talked to our good buddy Jordan Collins, was out there with his crew. Look, they're just good, hardworking, honest dudes. And there's some ladies over there as well, but they're some of the guys that came to the party. But look, when you can hang out with your roofer and look them eye to eye and shake their hand and know that they're good, hardworking, honest people, that's a big deal. We're in a market with hail, and hail attracts those out-of-town poacher roofers that they follow a storm, throw a magnet on the car, and try to sell you something you don't need. Jordan, Quentin, and all the guys over at PMR Roofing are going to do the right thing. Their company value is roofing the way it should be. And that's the exact experience that we've had with them. While some of our team members have needed their service directly themselves, the guy that did Jeremy's roof was there at the party as well. And many of our clients have had experience, whether it just be repairs, inspections, whole roofs, hail assessments, or whatever. The PMR team does it the right way. They won't sell you anything you don't need, but they'll get you really well taken care of when you do need something. You can reach out to them at 214-957-0839 or online at pmrroofing.com. If you ever forget any of that, just go to toddtremonteteam.com, click the radio tab, and you'll see all those experts and pros. Now, back to the breaking YouTube news. Moving to Texas, what's going on?
People were asking, is it a good strategy to rent for a little bit before you buy a house here in Texas? Say if you're moving from out of state and you're trying to get the lay of the land and you think, okay, well, I'll rent for a year or maybe less if you can find that, and then figure out where I really want to live.
All right.
What do you think about that strategy?
This is where critics can edit audio and make you look like a liar, because I would have answered this question a lot differently at the earlier portion of my career where the market was different, the pace of the market was different. It was more of a buyer's market. I would have said yes. It's a really good idea to rent affordably, cheaply, get to know the areas, look at a lot of houses, and then make a decision on where you want to buy and move, right? That was in a market with a lot more housing inventory. Right now, our inventory has come up a little bit, but we just talked a lot about when your inventory's gone up from 1 available house to 3 available houses, that's still not that many available houses. I don't think renting before you buy is a great option for most people in this market. Now, it is the right choice for some people. If you have unlimited funds and you know you need to be in DFW for a job or family, but you have maximum flexibility and there's 8 different communities that could be good for you, yeah, why not? Move to town, pay some extraordinarily high rents, take your time, let prices continue to rise, and buy where you want to buy because money's no object.
But you could Airbnb it or something, though.
You could, but that's about as expensive as a per night way to stay in a community, not knowing it. Now, I'm a big fan of, Airbnb for 5 days while you get to know the town. But we're talking a year lease, or you barely can find a 6-month lease anymore because landlords just don't need to do that. They're getting all-time high rents on 2-year leases. So what are you going to do? That's the reason this is a less attractive option, because you're going to pay the highest rental rates ever in DFW while you wait for home values to continue to climb. So I would rather somebody do a lot of research, connect with the Todd Tremonti home selling team or a great team that you can trust, and get to know the market virtually. Then, like Ian said, come in for 2 or 3 days, come in for a week or so, go ahead and spend the premium on a hotel room or an Airbnb or VRBO for a matter of days or a week or two, then get comfortable and go ahead and make the purchase decision to lock in home values before they continue to climb. Even if you've got to do that at an interest rate you don't love, if interest rates come down later, you can refinance. If they go up later, you missed a great opportunity. That's why I would say to that question, I used to say it's a great idea to rent while you get to know the area because there was more inventory and lower rental rates. Right now, it's still low inventory, higher than it was, but rental rates are through the roof, and you're not going to get those short-term leases like we used to be able to do.
Well, and if you do connect with a really knowledgeable, world-class company like the Todd Tremonti home selling team, they should be able to advise you as to areas in whatever marketplace that it's going to most suit your needs
in a short period of time.
Desires and wants. And then maybe you come into town and you do a scouting trip or two, and you begin to figure out yourself, like, okay, we like this commute would work, and all these other elements and aspects.
A few flights and a few, overnights, the expense of that is going to be much better than the crazy expense of a long-term rental currently in our market. So, like it or not, that's the answer right now. Again, it used to be a very different answer when we had more inventory, less competition, and much, much, much lower rental rates. It's totally changed the game of how we're able to advise an out-of-market buyer to wade into the market. But to Ian's point, and like I said earlier, there's a lot of great ways to get to know the market before you're physically here. If you have friends or family thinking about making a move to the market, you've got to send them to our YouTube channel. You can go to toddtremontiteam.com and just click the videos tab, or you're always welcome to go to tthst.tv. There's hundreds of educational videos about different parts of town, where to buy land, how to move to Texas, what it's like to move to Texas, what the lifestyle is like here, what to look for, what's different about each and every community, and why other people are doing it, what the IRS data says about who's coming from where and going to where. All of that is on our YouTube channel. You can find that at toddtremontiteam.com and click the videos tab. You can share that with a friend, family member, or neighbor, and it's certainly a free resource for you if you're thinking about moving locally as well. Remember, folks, we only introduce you to recommended professionals because they've done a great job for us and our clients.
So check out Patrick Glaros Mortgage Team, HomeServe Home Warranty, DP Lambert with Goosehead Insurance,
PMR Roofing,
Evolution Moving, Republic Title, and Keen Landscaping.
We'll be right back with more Texas Real Estate on WBAP.
Welcome back to Texas Real Estate with Todd Tremonti, brought to you by the Patrick Glaros Mortgage Team, PMR Roofing, DP Lambert with Goosehead Insurance, Republic Title, Home Serve Home Warranty, Evolution Moving, and Keen Landscaping. And now your host, Todd Tremonti.
Welcome back, folks. Welcome back. In just a minute, we're going to get into some of the recent IRS data about who's moving to DFW from where and who's moving from DFW and where they're going. Lots of really interesting information. Last couple of YouTube videos dug into that with thousands of views in short periods of time. So we'll dig into that in just a second, but I want to talk to you first about a couple of very, very important things. Number one being the fact that there are hungry children in our neighborhoods, in our communities, in our zip codes, in our school districts, and it's not okay. It's absolutely unacceptable in my opinion. It's completely ridiculous that in a community as affluent and supposedly generous as North Texas, that we still have kiddos, families, elderly, folks of all age that are what we call food insecure, not knowing where their next meal will come from. It just doesn't compute. So let's fix it. Let's do that. Let me ask you right now, if you have Venmo, check out at PBJ Drive. And if you're capable, would you donate $10, $20, $100, whatever you're capable of? And more than that, what I would really love for you to do, if you agree with me that we as a community should love our neighbor and meet the basic needs of each and every one of our neighbors as they have those needs, if you, next time you're grocery shopping, or if you want to swing by the grocery store right now and pick up a flat or a bag or a box full of peanut butter and jelly, no glass containers, you can then drop those off at our Fort Worth office on Lackland Road or our Richardson office on Arapahoe. And we will gladly collect those and encourage others to join us in the donation drive and get those to the North Texas Food Bank as well as the Tarrant Area Food Bank. And we will feed families and kiddos. The reason we focus on the children is there are many kiddos in our community that depend on school lunch and often school breakfast. And during the summer, they don't have as easy of access to that. Now, there are some school districts and food banks that are trying to address that problem throughout the summer by having some pickup meals and drop-off meals. It certainly doesn't catch everyone, but even those groups need the food to get delivered. And so we want to be a part of the solution. We don't want to just simply recognize it and be frustrated by it. We want to help solve the problem. So you can drop off peanut butter and jelly, no glass containers, but any other peanut butter and jelly containers you can drop off at our Fort Worth or Richardson location. Just go to pbjdrive.com, pbjdrive.com. You can find the addresses of our locations and some of our partnering companies and vendors that you could potentially drop off at their locations as well. You're hearing from our other friends all over multiple radio stations and different shows and different times of the day who are joining us at the Todd Tremonti Home Selling Team as we seek to meet the need of hungry kiddos and families all over North Texas. So you can Venmo right now at PBJ Drive, $10, $20, $100, whatever you can do. We absolutely love it when our friends, our neighbors, our listeners join us in meeting the needs of our neighbors. And you can drop off physical peanut butter and jelly at one of our offices, and all that information is online at pbjdrive.com. pbjdrive.com for all the info, or just straight up Venmo right now at PBJ Drive. We've had several listeners over the last week already donate. A lot of folks donating $20, a couple at $150. We had a few at $300. Love it. That turns into 5 or 6 meals per dollar. And those of you that want to feel the contribution and really participate at a little deeper level, go grab peanut butter and jelly at 75 cents or $1 per jar, and come take a picture with us. Come see what others are doing. Let's chat a little bit and get to feel the experience a little bit more so that maybe it lingers a little bit longer. But we do this during the month of June because the food banks collect the least food during June, but have the most demand and need for food during June. So we want to help those food banks restock the shelves, meet the needs of kiddos, families, and folks all over DFW. At PBJ Drive, Venmo at PBJ Drive, or all the details online at pbjdrive.com.
I took my kiddos to a local grocery store, begins with a cr, ends in an ogre. And I explained to my kids, they're 10 and 9, what we were doing, why we were doing it. And it was cool. My son wanted to donate $10. My daughter gave me $20. The reason I mentioned the cr and the ogre is they are also doing a peanut butter jelly drive.
Oh, yeah?
And they had some excellent deals on peanut butter and jelly.
Nice.
So we were able to stock up.
Awesome. Maybe next year we'll connect with Kroger a little earlier. But check out Kroger. Aldi used to be our go-to, but last I heard this year, all their stuff is glass again. And so we can't take glass containers. So you got to do plastic. Check the dollar store. Check your favorite grocery store. Check your favorite discount club, warehouse store. Get as much as you can for as little as you can. Just about any peanut butter and jelly goes. Even with the recent Jif recall, I think if it's on the shelf today, it's good and safe and healthy. It's about as healthy as you're going to find it, or as safe, I mean. And it's good. It's good for the food banks. It's good for families. It's got a long shelf life, and most people like it. It's relatively decent nutrition. So pbjdrive.com or Venmo us $20, $50, $100, whatever works for you at PBJ Drive on Venmo, at PBJ Drive.
This first segment is brought to you, as always, by Patrick Leros and the fine folks over at Cardinal Financial. Patrick and his team continue to deliver world-class service time and time and time and time and time and time and time again and again and again. To our team members, to Todd, I've used Patrick, so many clients have used Patrick and his entire team, and it's just a really, really outstanding job that they do time and time again. You can go to patrickleros.com for more information. You can actually start your pre-approval process right there on the website, patrickleros.com. You can call him at 972-728-3420. You can go to toddtremoniteam.com where you can find all of our recommended pros and vendors, and Patrick's NMLS is 308804.
And look, beyond the obvious being great at his job and having a great team, they're just good people. Patrick came by our client appreciation party the other night, brought a bunch of peanut butter and jelly to donate to the food drive, had a bunch of fun with us, and he just had a baby. I mean, literally, like 5-day-old baby at home, and he comes to hang out and to contribute and feed hungry kiddos and connect with past clients and friends. And it's just, that's the kind of people you want to work with. Someone you can look in the eye or at least speak to on the phone that's local, that knows the market, that wants to take great care of you and not just, quote, get it done. It's important.
Yep. So, okay, let's jump into a little bit more of the current kind of state of affairs and things. We had teased a little earlier on. We were going to talk about where are people coming to Texas from. I would love to hear from Mason if we have anything from the YouTubers.
Oh, we've got some stuff.
Questions on that stuff. See
YouTube comment section is, I would argue, not the best place on earth, but boy, is it interesting. The producer extraordinaire, Young MG, may be scooping some of that stuff up right now, but you're going to want to watch those videos that have, lengthier, more detailed information about statistical data on how many people are coming from where. But it was interesting as far as moving from another state to the state of Texas. Obviously, California is the one that catches all the headlines. A lot of negativity about California moving to Texas, and, like it or not, all politics aside, the phrase "Don't California my Texas" is extraordinarily popular in the YouTube comment section and in the email, and for callers on a lot of talk radio.
I have a tattoo on my back. It says "Don't California my Texas."
The gas is up to $8.
That's not accurate, but I'm not at all sure why he said that. But there are people in the comment section on the YouTube channel that probably have at least that. Here's the deal, though.
It's called comedy.
It was excellent comedy. I mean, it was just so good that I am trying to
play the laugh track.
Out.
Play it.
I'm going. Oh, there it is. It was just delayed. People loved it, though. They did. They loved it.
People are dying.
People are just killed by that level of humor. Still going. Okay, here's the deal. California was big. The Midwest has been big for a while. New York and New Jersey are on that list. No massive surprises there. There were more surprises on where people are leaving DFW and going to. It would be interesting to to get folks to take a guess right now, you can certainly do that on our social media. Just find at Texas Real Estate with Todd Tremonti, or just find Todd Tremonti.
Denton.
Denton is actually really, really close to the overall idea. The exodus from Dallas County is to immediately surrounding counties. It's to Collin County. It's to Rockwall County. It's to even some to Tarrant County, but the net gains are to the east and north for the most part. And the same thing is true from Fort Worth and Tarrant County. The net gains are to the west and to the north. So basically people are just moving out of the city. That's a trend that we called as COVID hit. We were like, man, if people are going to work from home, they're going to want home to be different. We talked for months and months and months, if not years now, about people used to have a gym membership. They'd go to the community pool. They'd have a storage unit, and they'd live in a house that was a little bit more dense, in a more densely populated area than they wanted, a little closer to work than they really wanted, but needed, and a little bit smaller. So COVID hit, people began to work remotely, or they began to say, forget it, I just don't prioritize work quite the same way I used to. Move out and get a larger home on more property where they could have a gym at home, a pool at home, all their stuff stored at home, not need to go to the community pool, not need to go to the gym or the storage unit, and not commute as much, or maybe not commute as all. Well, the IRS data is backing that up. And the IRS data basically says, what was your address on your tax return last year? And what's your, on your tax filing last year? And what's your address on your tax filing this year?
I think 4 of the 5 were still in Texas, right? Still in North Texas.
Still in the
immediate
vicinity.
Lone one, the last time I looked at it, I think the lone one was it somewhere in New York?
Well, when you started looking at outside the Metroplex, Washington State comes up, South Carolina comes up. I believe Minnesota was on there. Mason can correct me if I'm wrong on that one. But the fact is, those were very small numbers. Like the net export of people, and you can look at it in GDP too, like annual income. Sorry, not GDP, but what do you call it? AGI, adjusted gross income. And so there was like 1,200 people net to the state of Washington, right? Well, I think those are probably folks retiring to cooler, prettier, climates. People are going to I'm going to get emails about prettier. Every time you do an email about the beauty of Texas, people get really mad. I love Texas. It's beautiful.
The Dallas Metroplex
it's not
is
exactly,
a stunning area.
It's not exactly the coastline of Washington. Like, let's just, I love Galveston. I grew up going down there all the time. It ain't the same. But I love Texas. I'd rather live here and visit there. But I think those moves in such small numbers are folks that have decided to retire or work uber remotely and want to be on the West Coast for, tech business or whatever, or just simply love those regions. So you're talking about less than 2,000 people making a move to those spots. But interesting information. The question that I'm getting much more often is, are people still moving here? As all of our housing inventory being bought up by Californians with too much money driving up prices? And the answer is yes, they are. Not at the quite the aggressive pace as they were before. And we talked earlier in the show about how even local buyers and sellers, probably a third of those buyers are sitting on the sidelines. That's probably true for the out-of-state buyer as well. But that still leaves quite a bit of action and momentum in the market. As we speak, though, fellows, Keene Landscaping is at 2 different properties of mine, doing some landscaping teardown and some landscaping build-up before we do some construction projects. And look, I call them for any of my landscaping needs, and I would encourage you to do the same. Go online to KeeneLandscaping.com, Keane, KeeneLandscaping.com. Ask for my buddy Ben. It's that time of year where they are super, super busy. But if you'll call and tell them the Todd Tremonti home team sent you, and you'll ask for Ben, they'll get you on the schedule. Whether it's new plantings, sidewalks, swimming pools, retaining walls, irrigation, tree work, design, construction, just a consult, they do it all. Specifically the tree work, separate business, all under the umbrella over at Keene, though. North Texas Trees can get you pruned, can deal with some down limbs from some recent windstorms and things like that. Reach out to them online at KeeneLandscaping.com. That's KEANE landscaping.com.
What would you say are some of the key things that folks need to be doing here over the coming weeks? We haven't really talked about this year at all, to really prep for the Texas summer, right? I just had Rodney Reinhardt over to check out my AC. We actually got really lucky, and we did it on one of the days last week that we had the cooler weather.
Yep.
But that's always like top of my list, and it's always the thing I forget until
Too late.
it's swelteringly hot outside.
Well, the problem is if you forget to have your AC checked out till it's sweltering hot, you're more likely to have a problem. But also the AC servicing folks are more busy. So it's harder to get an appointment, right? So if we recommend a pro, or we at least tell you about an expert, almost always they're going to give you some advantage by telling them that we sent you. Front of the line service, maybe even a discount. Rodney does both. So that's Reinhardt Service Company, and all their information is online. If you go to toddtremonti.team.com and click radio, you can reach out to them. They're a locally owned small business, family operated for, I believe, the third generation now. And that Rodney and his team has been in and out of every home I've owned for 3 or 4 houses now over the last decade plus.
It's just good peace of mind. We have 2 units at the house. They came, they serviced them, they checked them, they made sure everything was good. They did inside and they did outside. And for less than $100, you're left with just peace of mind that we're going to be good.
And traditional retail on that would be $300 easy, and they'd try to sell you something. No doubt about it, right? They'd tell you that you need a new condenser unit, or your ductwork's, jacked up or whatever. You need more returns and things like that. Rodney and his team just take incredibly good care of people. And so the broader question is, what should folks be doing to prepare for the crazy hot summer? Having your AC checked is a great one. Interestingly enough, there's a lot of problems with water heaters this time of year. So having a plumber just kind of double check everything in your house if you haven't in quite a while. And I'm going to tell you, this is a great time for the roof. In North Texas, people seem to only care about heat, but people seem to only care about hail, because hail's obviously damaging to a roof. But heat is one of the things that limits the lifetime, the length of life of your roof more than almost anything. It's just that beating summer heat, which is why we used to refer to roofs as a 40-year roof or a 30-year roof. And then we tell you, okay, a 40-year roof will probably last 25 years, 30-year roof probably last you 20 years, and a 25-year roof might not even last you 10, right? It's just the ratings in our climate don't last because of the blistering heat that we have. So, if you haven't had someone check your roof out in a while, reach out to PMR Roofing. Just go to PMRroofing.com, ask for our buddy Jordan, or reach out to Quentin. Jordan will get you taken really good care of, though. If you haven't had somebody up on your roof in the last couple of years, now's a good time to do that. The roofers, it's hot for them this time of year, but it's good for you to know, because the heat is cracking those seals around the boots. And then you get some of those late summer rains and you've got leaks, or you don't know it. And something that was very affordable that you could catch from a precautionary approach ends up being a really expensive repair.
Well, when it gets a little bit hotter, they won't actually send their crews up on the roof in the afternoons, because it's so hot for them.
Yep.
It's just not safe anymore.
Yeah. So they'll come out in the mornings, though, or they'll get you scheduled at a safer time. But the point is, heating and AC, plumbing, outdoor, sprinklers, water stuff, this is the time of year that if that stuff's not in order, big problems happen fast.
You mentioned hot water heaters. Is there actually a time of the year when hot water heaters are more likely to go out?
2 things. In the YouTube comments, if you said the word hot water heater, you would get absolutely obliterated, because people will tell you it's a water heater.
That's fine.
It doesn't heat the hot water. Now look,
England.
I said no. Even I said hot water heater forever until a couple years ago.
It's like toast. You don't put toast in the toaster.
By the time the third plumber and 570th YouTube commenter coached it out of me, now I try to say water heater. But
stay with hot water.
The answer is this: most water heaters in our area are gas. Many of them are electric, but most of them are gas. So you have a unit that heats up and that has failure points anyway. And then we get into the brutal hot summer where we tend to use more water anyway. Believe it or not, we use more hot water in the summer. And so the units just tend to fail or show their age a little bit more. Little valves and drains don't operate correctly, or they get clogged, or they drip too much, that kind of thing. It's just super important to the root of your question to have them checked before it's a major problem, and you'll avoid most major problems. When a water heater bursts, you're replacing wood floors or you're fixing sheetrock and walls, right? When you catch it and someone says this piece is failing and it will cost more to fix that than to replace it, that's no fun, but that's better than a massive claim and having to move out and repair your whole house. Same thing with an AC unit. It's better to repair something or know ahead of time you've got about a year to replace it versus your in-laws are over and you have no cool air, right? So the precautionary heads up is really, really wise.
Our hot water heater is in the garage, and I was very happy about
In the
that.
garage, which translates to garage for American English. I do want to tell folks, like as we're talking about preparing ahead of time, title companies often can be a last-minute decision, a lot like insurance agents actually, when they really should be planned ahead. So if you're thinking about buying a home, selling a home, refinancing a home, transferring ownership of property through probate or anything like that anytime soon, plan ahead and definitely look very, very strongly at Republic Title. We also hung out with the Republic Title crew the other night at our party. They were there. They're wonderful. They're trustworthy people. We know them. We know their families. They're delightful. And when you get title wrong, everything can go wrong. The whole transaction can go south really, really quickly. When you get title right, you can sleep a little bit better at night knowing that the dollars are going to go where they need to go. The terms of the contract are going to be enforced. Closing is going to happen on time and as it was intended. So plan ahead. Check out Republic Title right now at republictitle.com.
Okay, you got a couple minutes left. What is the number one thing folks need to be thinking about right now when it comes to buying or selling a home?
The market's changed. So you need to know your assumptions, your observations, your anecdotal stories from friends and family and neighbors that were happening last year or that were happening in the first quarter of this year. Those are no longer reliable. They're relevant, but they're not directly reliable. They're factored into an equation, but the current pace of things, current interest rates, current housing pricing trajectory, current buyer sentiment and seller sentiment and buyer confidence and all those things, it's a new ballgame. There are new ingredients for this pie. So you really do need to reach out to an expert. By all means, I would throw the Todd Tremonti Home Selling Team's hat in the ring, as in my opinion, and the opinion of many others, as the single best real estate team in all of North Texas. We are not here to sell every single house we can. That's not even our goal. Our goal is to help the people that we can help the most in our key areas of expertise. Neighborhood homes in North Texas, 300 and up for the most part, as well as homes on land. When we say land, we typically mean 1 acre to 10 acres, and a couple other areas of specialization. If you'd like to talk to a pro about buying or selling and how to do that in the recently shifting market with new information, new plans, new goals, new guidelines, new things that we need to be thinking about, but here's the good news, new opportunities to take advantage of. I want you to reach out to the Todd Tremonti Home Selling Team. You can do that at
ToddTremontiTeam.com.
or you can call or text 214-310-0008. That's 214-310-0008. You can call that number, save it in your cell phone, or you can text it, 214-310-0008. I guarantee you, one of our world-class, full-time, fully dedicated expert real estate specialists will give you a call or shoot you an email, whatever's best for you, and they'll set up a time to either come into the office in Richardson or Fort Worth to jump on a quick Zoom call with you, your family, anybody involved in the transaction or anybody involved in your needs, or just a simple phone call to understand what's important to you, what is affecting your decision, and how we can lead and guide you and protect you in the best way possible, even if there's not a sale in it for us. So go to ToddTremontiTeam.com or call or text 214-310-0008. Check out pbjdrive.com to feed North Texas hungry kiddos. Remember, folks, we only recommend professionals that we have had a great experience with or our clients. So go check out
Patrick Glaros Mortgage Team, Home Serve Home Warranty, DP Lambert with Goosehead Insurance,
PMR Roofing,